So if you've been watching the last few episodes of the Woodland Escape, you've met Fred. So Fred hangs around here, feeding primarily on frogs in the pond. Now the pond's frozen over now, so Fred's going to have to resort to moles and voles. But he likes the trench we did for the fortification, because we must have disturbed some of the tunnels underground, and he's feeding in the trenches actually. So we thought we'd build Fred a home up here, and got a little bedding for him even. But apparently, did a little research, Fred's about to mate. Now we're not sure if it's Fred or Fraulein or Frida, we're not sure of gender, but about this time they'll start doing locating calls to one another. They mate for life. They're going to have between 1 and 4 young will be born, and they're going to stay pretty close to home for the better part of 6 months. So it'd be pretty neat if we can attract them in. It is a new box, so they may not use it this year, but hopefully they do, and if not, they probably will next year. Some creature's going to use it. It looks pretty inviting to me. All right, I'm going to put a little bedding into it, and we'll see if we can get Fred to find a mate. So Kathy did the research about owls, and apparently when Fred Jr. is born here, hopefully, before they can fly, they want to leave the nest, and they can flop themselves out of here, I guess, maybe glide to the ground, but to get back up, apparently, they use their talons and their bills, and they'll actually claw their way back up and into the hut. And as I mentioned, they're going to stay here for 5 or 6 months. They'll be almost adult size. So Kathy thought they might need something to get past this smoother pine, so we nailed on a couple of pieces of slab. So anyway, I hope Fred's happy. Bless the soul of the person who invented the wheel, and also the guy who decided to put 2 of them on an axle and build this super efficient piece of equipment. I should have built one years ago. Someone recently sent us a picture of a Trumbull cart, and it's even weirder than this guy, because it's got a single wheel, like a wheelbarrow, and the wheel's about that high, wooden spoked, and on either side of this single wheel is a platform to put the cargo in the gear. And on either end of this huge wheel are wheelbarrow handles. So one guy pulls this way and the other guy's at the back pushing this way, and they have a single wheel. And in terms of efficiency, you couldn't get any better. You could take it over undulating terrain. You could take it through the forest between trees. You could bring a deer out with it. You could go to town. And apparently it comes from an era of the Klondike Gold Rush, so the late 1800s. While I'm on the 1800s, last episode I talked about the history of the Mormons and the handcart expeditions. And in my wee bit of history, I made a boo-boo. So I'm going to correct that. So they made 10 handcart expeditions, and 8 of them were successful, 2 were ill-fated, and both in the same year they started late. The part I got right was that there were 980 souls departed in those 2 companies, but not 190 perished, 210 perished. The other thing I found fascinating, I omitted to tell or say when I was doing my wee bit of history, was that they were only allowed 17 pounds per person, and they were inspected and weighed. And that 17 pounds had to include all their personal clothing, bedding, and cooking utensils. And it boggles my mind. In fact, I can hardly get my head around how the hardiness of these people to leave a place where you could get supplies, goods and wares, head to a remote part of North America where resupply certainly couldn't be taken for granted, and have that meager amount of personal goods to take with you. Anyway, I find that totally fascinating. And while I'm at it, it's January the 2nd and a grand day. Sun kind of peeks out every once in a while and makes it even better. But both Kathy and I would like to thank everybody that for the past 3.5 years that we have endeavored to step back in time with the Woodland Escape, that have showed interest, have supported us, and most importantly have commented on the different episodes we do. That to both of us is kind of the highlight. We glean a lot of information, we get a lot of good ideas, we love the interaction. So anyway, here's to 2024, and we humbly thank you.